There is a phrase hiding on most canned chicken labels that food companies are counting on you to skip right past. It doesn't say fake. It doesn't say substitute. It sits in the ingredient panel, usually buried behind the sodium number, and it legally allows manufacturers to inject water, broth, modified starch, and sodium phosphate into the can, then print premium chicken on the front. I pulled every major brand from the canned meat aisle, checked USDA regulations, traced who actually owns these products, and documented every recall, lawsuit, and safety failure on record. 7 canned chicken brands that are not giving you what you think you are buying. 2 that genuinely are. By the end of this, you will know exactly which cans to put back. 1 number before we start. The USDA requires that a product labeled chicken contain actual skeletal muscle meat. What it does not require is that the chicken be the primary ingredient by weight after water, broth, and additives are factored in. Everything on the avoid list either manipulates around that threshold, has a safety record that makes the formula the least of your concerns, or both. We start with lower concern and build toward the most serious. Number 7. Great Value Canned Chunk Chicken, Walmart. This is the default, the one in the most pantries, bought the most often, questioned the least. At under $2 a can, the price logic is completely sound. Here is what the price actually buys you. Open the Great Value ingredient panel and read past the word chicken. You will find chicken broth, modified food starch, and sodium phosphate listed before you reach anything resembling a clean label. That broth is not added for flavor, it is added for weight. Water and broth inflating the apparent protein content of the can while reducing the actual muscle meat inside it. Modified food starch is a binder. It holds the texture together after the processing that makes canned meat shelf-stable, has broken down the natural structure of the tissue. Then there is the sodium number. A single 5-ounce can of Great Value canned chicken delivers up to 460 milligrams of sodium. 2 cans, a reasonable amount for a casserole or pasta dish, puts you past 900 milligrams before you have added a single other ingredient. The American Heart Association's cardiovascular daily ceiling is 1,500 milligrams. One meal built around this product can quietly consume more than half of that before anyone at the table noticed. Store brand supply chains rotate. The manufacturer producing Great Value canned chicken this quarter may not be the same facility producing it next quarter. Same label, potentially different processing history, different quality controls. You are paying for consistency the label was never required to guarantee. Number 6. Kirkland Signature Canned Chicken, Costco. The Kirkland brand carries a specific kind of trust. Costco's private label has a reputation for quality that other store brands don't. That reputation is real in many product categories. Canned chicken is where it gets complicated. Kirkland canned chicken is produced under contract by Tyson Foods, the same industrial processor whose standard fresh chicken goes through a communal chlorinated water chiller, a processing step the European Union banned for human consumption in 1997. The canned product adds a layer. The Kirkland 5-ounce can contains chicken, water, chicken broth, and modified food starch. Broth and starch both appear before the ingredient list ends. That means added water and a binding agent are structural to what is inside the can, not incidental. Kirkland's per-ounce price is lower than most of the brands on this list. That pricing is the result of contract manufacturing at enormous scale with Tyson as the underlying supplier. The Costco logo is on the front. Tyson's processing infrastructure is what produced it. Number 5. Swanson Premium Chunk White Chicken, Campbell Soup Company. Swanson is the oldest name in this category. That longevity communicates a kind of authority, the kind that makes a product feel established, reliable, and safe in the specific way that only deeply familiar things feel safe. Here is what sits behind that familiarity. Swanson Premium Chunk White Chicken lists chicken broth as the second ingredient on every can, immediately after chicken. Broth is water processed through chicken bones and trimmings. It adds back moisture lost during canning and increases the apparent volume of the product. What it does not add is meaningful protein. You are paying for weight that does not deliver the nutritional value the packaging implies. Then there is the sodium. One 2-ounce serving of Swanson canned chicken contains 340 milligrams of sodium. The entire can is 5 ounces. Most people use the entire can in a single recipe. That puts total sodium intake from this one ingredient at approximately 850 milligrams before anything else is added to the dish. In 2022, multiple lots of Swanson canned products were flagged in FDA import alerts for labeling inconsistencies. Campbell's, which owns Swanson, did not issue a public recall. The products remained on shelves. The brand name communicates security. The documentation behind it is a different story. Number 4. Hormel Premium Chunk Breast of Chicken. Hormel has spent decades positioning itself as the respectable middle tier of canned meat. Not the cheapest option, not premium, reliable, trustworthy. That positioning does a significant amount of work at the shelf, and almost none of it holds up under scrutiny. Start with the ingredient list. Hormel Premium Chunk Breast of Chicken contains chicken, water, contains less than 2% of modified food starch, salt, and sodium phosphate. Sodium phosphate is a preservative and texture modifier. Research published in peer-reviewed nephrology journals has linked consistent dietary intake of sodium phosphate to accelerated kidney function decline in patients with existing kidney disease. The FDA has classified it as GRAS, generally recognized as safe, at the concentrations used. What GRAS does not mean is that there is no concern. It means the concern has not yet reached the threshold required for restriction. Sodium phosphate appears in the ingredient list of a product sold as a clean, high-protein, healthy alternative to processed meat. In 2019, Hormel was cited by the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service for violations at one of its processing facilities related to inadequate sanitation controls. The citation did not trigger a product recall. It was closed after corrective action was filed. A corrective action filing is not the same as a corrected facility, and Hormel's parent record includes the original Spam, the brand that effectively established the category of heavily processed, sodium-loaded canned meat. Premium is the word on the front. The processing philosophy runs much deeper than the label suggests. Number 3. Bumblebee Chunk White Chicken. The name Bumblebee belongs to canned tuna. The brand recognition built over a century in one category has been extended to canned chicken with the specific purpose of borrowing that trust. Here is what happened to the company behind that name. In 2017, Bumblebee Foods CEO Christopher Leshevsky was criminally indicted on federal price-fixing charges. He was convicted. In 2020, Bumblebee Foods itself filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, a direct result of the financial and legal fallout from that conviction. The company was acquired out of bankruptcy by Taiwan FCF Co., a Taiwanese seafood conglomerate, for $925 million. The brand name that appears on canned chicken at your grocery store is now owned by a foreign corporation that purchased the rights through a bankruptcy proceeding. The trust embedded in that name was built by a company whose leadership was found guilty of federal price fixing and that no longer exists as an independent operation. The product itself contains chicken, water, chicken broth, and contains less than 2% of salt, modified food starch, and natural flavoring. Natural flavoring is an FDA-approved category that requires no specific disclosure of what the flavoring substance actually is. It is a legal placeholder for any number of compounds. The chicken broth and modified starch return here as they do across most of this list. Water and binder, added before the can closes, sold at protein prices by the pound. A brand with a federal criminal conviction at its executive level, a bankruptcy, a foreign acquisition, and an ingredient list built on filler has no business being the default grab in the canned meat aisle. Number 2. Tyson Premium Chunk Chicken Breast. Tyson's name appears twice on this list, once as the contract manufacturer behind Kirkland, and once here, under its own label. That is not a coincidence. Tyson is the largest chicken processor in the United States, and its fingerprint is on a significant portion of the canned chicken market, regardless of which name is on the front. Here is what the Tyson Standard Chicken Processing Model produces and what it means in a can. Water chilling, the communal chlorinated tank processing step the EU banned in 1997, means the birds absorbed a percentage of their final weight in shared tank water before they were ever processed into canned form. That absorbed water becomes part of what goes into the can. The broth listed as a secondary ingredient adds more. The modified food starch holds the texture together after everything that gave it natural structure has been processed out. Then there is the legal record. Tyson is named as a primary defendant in ongoing federal poultry price-fixing litigation. Contract growers in the Tyson system have documented through federal proceedings the financial pressure the company's payment structure creates, a structure that independent researchers and federal prosecutors have described as designed to minimize producer income while maximizing processing volume. That system is the supply chain behind this can. In 2024, Tyson was issued a notice of violation by the USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service related to sanitation practices at one of its poultry processing facilities. The notice was not publicly announced. It surfaced through FOIA requests filed by the food safety organization Consumer Reports. A violation you find through a records request is not a violation the company disclosed to the people buying the product. Tyson is paying for marketing that communicates premium. The processing history, legal record, and ingredient panel say something different. Number 1. Valley Fresh 100% Natural Chicken Breast. The words 100% natural are the most deliberately misleading 3 words in the canned chicken aisle. The FDA does not have a formal regulatory definition for the word natural on a canned product label. It has issued informal guidance suggesting natural means no artificial or synthetic ingredients. That guidance is not enforceable. It is a suggestion, which means 100% natural on a Valley Fresh can means exactly as much as the company decided it would mean when they printed it. Open a can of Valley Fresh 100% natural chicken breast. The ingredient list reads chicken, water, modified food starch, salt. The water is structural to the product. The modified food starch is a processed binding agent, industrially derived, chemically modified from its source grain, added specifically because the texture of the chicken after canning would not hold together without it. That is on the can labeled 100% natural. Valley Fresh is owned by Hormel Foods, the same parent company that appears at number 4 on this list. The brand name is different. The processing philosophy, the supply chain, and the ownership structure are identical. 2 labels, 1 company, the same product positioned at different price points for different shelf positions. But the reason Valley Fresh earns the top position on this list is not the ingredient manipulation. It is the pattern of claim versus reality. The words 100% natural exist in food marketing specifically to intercept shoppers who are trying to avoid exactly what this product contains. It is packaging designed to work against the consumer it is selling to. A legal claim chosen not because it is accurate, but because it cannot be easily disproven. That is a different level of problem than a product that is simply low quality. That is a product that knows what you are looking for and was designed to look like it. Now that you know what to put back, here are the 2 brands that looked at the same regulatory framework and chose not to exploit it. Best option number 2. Wild Planet Organic Roasted Chicken Breast. Wild Planet built its reputation in canned seafood. The same supply chain integrity that made their tuna the standard for species verification and clean labeling extends directly into their canned chicken product. Open the ingredient panel. It reads, organic chicken breast, sea salt. 2 ingredients. That is the complete list. No broth, no modified food starch, no sodium phosphate, no added water inflating the can weight and the apparent protein count. The chicken was roasted before canning, not processed into a paste and reconstituted with binders. The result is a texture that behaves like actual cooked chicken breast, not like the soft, compressed product common to most brands on the avoid list. The sodium content is 75 milligrams per serving. Compared to the 340 to 460 milligrams in most of the brands above it, that is not a marginal improvement. It is a fundamentally different product. USDA certified organic means the birds were raised without routine antibiotics, on verified organic feed, with outdoor access as a regulatory requirement, rather than a marketing claim. Wild Planet submits to third-party audits on the organic certification annually. That is the difference between a label and a verified standard. The price is higher than the brands on the avoid list. The price is what a product with a 2-ingredient panel and no filler costs. You are not paying for water and starch at chicken prices. You are paying for chicken. Best option number 1. Trader Joe's Organic Chicken Breast. Trader Joe's does not operate a traditional supply chain for this product. Their private label canned chicken breast is produced under strict specification controls with verified organic sourcing requirements. The ingredient list: organic chicken breast, water, sea salt. 3 ingredients. The water here is present in trace amounts as a processing artifact from the canning environment. It does not appear in meaningful quantities in the can, and does not inflate weight in the way that broth-heavy formulations do. What makes this the top recommendation is the combination of standard and price. At approximately $2.49 per can, Trader Joe's Organic Chicken Breast is the most accessible clean label option in the category. Most of the brands on the avoid list charge comparable or higher prices for products built substantially on water, broth, and modified starch. This one delivers verified organic muscle meat at a price that competes directly with the problem brands. The USDA Organic certification is third-party audited. The sea salt content accounts for 190 milligrams of sodium per can, lower than any brand on the avoid list. And the texture of the product reflects what happens when you start with a clean bird and process it without additives. Pull it from the can, and it separates into actual muscle fiber. It holds its structure in heat. It behaves like chicken because nothing was added to make it behave like something that isn't. If you buy one thing differently after watching this, it is this: read the ingredient panel before you read the front label. The front label is a marketing decision. The ingredient panel is the actual product. On a can of canned chicken, a clean product has between 2 and 4 ingredients. Chicken, water or broth if present, salt. If you see modified food starch, sodium phosphate, natural flavoring, or chicken broth as a top 3 ingredient on a brand charging you premium prices, you are paying for the label, not the food. You now know which cans to put back, and exactly which 2 are worth taking home.